Welcome to the Mile High PotCast. We're your guides through sordid tales of movies, music, and pop culture. Our show is best experienced under the influence of cannabis, so now is your cue to light up. Now remember, drugs are dangerous. Please use responsibly, but do subscribe. And now your hosts, James Thomas and David Hawk.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Friday, October 16th, and you are listening to the Mile High PotCast. And here, your host, Dave Hawk.
Why, hello. Oh, I have applause? Holy shit. Thank you. Thank you for everybody who has shown up. And thank you, Faceless Voice. I do appreciate the shout out there. It's Friday night, so welcome to the Mile High Podcast. I am your host, Dave. Our co-host James, who normally does this, 90s rap is not really his forte, so he took a step back, and instead we have Dr. Detroit join us for our first official Mile High Podcast with him there. So welcome,
Hey!
Dr. Detroit.
Yeah, watching you. It's been very entertaining. Looking forward to this.
Yeah, we see Dr. Detroit every Wednesday on our next guest's show, Santore What Now? So hello, Mr. Santore. How the hell are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
And finally, back from a medical situation, coming back from the brink of death.
I'm verklempt.
We welcome Melody, our resident music expert, back to the show. Welcome back.
It's very good to be back.
Well, I'm so excited. Yeah, it feels good. I'm glad to see you back. It's been a while.
No, I meant the applause, but yeah.
Yeah. So tell me, have any of you actually been up in front of a stage and like a bunch of people applauded as you like you said something and then like everybody applauded and went crazy? Like that's something I've always wished I could do. Like, Santore, what about you?
Oh yeah.
What, having applause? I love having applause.
The only applause I get
is very encouraging.
Every once in a while, like we'll go to a local bar and I'll get applause when I sing karaoke because I don't look like I don't sing great. I just sing better than the drunks. So that feels good.
What is your go-to song at karaoke?
Everyone does.
Yeah, exactly. What's
your go-to karaoke song?
So out in Colorado, you got to go with something kind of country. I'll do like Redneck Woman. And then if James will sing with me, because he's a Broadway geek, we do Suddenly Seymour, the duet. And I always pull it out at the end. Yeah, at the very end, there it goes up. And one time I did it, and the DJ was like, "Do you know this other song from this other musical?" And I was like, "No, I'm so sorry, but I'll learn it." And then I never went back. Sorry.
There's homework involved. I'm never coming back.
Like, this is too much responsibility for a karaoke bar.
I did karaoke like 2 or 3 times, and there's this local bar here in Aurora, Colorado called Pitchers, which everybody from everybody from Truckee Pacific knows Pitchers because it is like the place where we grew up at, the dive bar that we grew up at. And like they didn't have the best DJs and they didn't have the best equipment, so like I went up there twice and like the microphone kept cutting out and I was so hammered I didn't know. I was like singing it, some 9 Inch Nails at the top of my lungs and it was like crackling and like fading in and out. And every time I would get off, they just like I have a blank stare of like, what the fuck did that just happen? So never had applause coming out of karaoke. It just more blank stares.
Yeah, no, it's hit and miss for me. Sometimes I get in my head. I'm not a singer, so.
What about you, Dr. D? You a karaoke guy?
What's your go-to karaoke song?
I like it. I did it. I like seeing it so I can kind of sit back and like laugh at other people. But I did it once. I got real courageous one time here in Florida. I had, maybe 7 or 8 of Long Island iced teas. And I'm flipping through the book and I saw Prince. I'm like, oh, Purple Rain. Bad idea to sing Purple Rain while you blasted it. Yeah. Didn't get any applause. I heard some laughter, but that was the last time I did it.
I always make sure the worse you are, the more I clap. Because
I like that.
Yeah, because my parents are musicians. Like my mom, she's gone to karaoke with my husband and us once, and we had a friend who was signed up after her, and when she sang, he went up and canceled his song. He's like, I'm not going up after her.
Yeah, ain't following that.
Very good. That's probably why I have a conscientious thing about performing, is because people are like, are you as good as her? And I'm like, hell no. So, but she went with us once and she kind of ruined it for everybody. No. But my point is that because of that, I don't like to be snobby about it. And I feel like if you put yourself out there, especially if you know you're bad, you must really like it. And that's cool, you know.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like that. I will say, I've said this like probably 10 different times. James is like the best karaoke singer I've seen.
Really?
Because he's so good at, he does Devil Goes Down to Georgia. And every time I've ever seen him do karaoke, he knows that song so well that like he just gets up there and just like starts railing it off. Like he doesn't even need to look at the words. And so like, you know, he always gets big applause when he comes off. Like I said, I just get stares.
He always does that, and he'll do Ice Ice Baby.
Oh, nice.
Man, what a great segue. Holy shit. Great segue, Melody, because
right?
we are way off the track already. Like, we just started the show, and we're like way the fuck off the tracks. But
we weren't even in the right decade.
I know, but it was technically rap. And Suge Knight, who is one of the main characters of 90s rap, allegedly held Vanilla Ice outside of his hotel room, outside his balcony, trying to sweat him down for some money. So it's a perfect segue. It is so perfect. Thank you for that good setup there, Melody.
You're welcome. I planned that in my head. I was like, how can we get back on track?
All right. Well, now that we are back on track, I'm in charge of the show. So I'm going to go by my fucking outline that I love my outlines. And James does about 40% of the stuff on the outline. And it is my goal to hit all these bullet points and, you know, bold headlines. We're going to hit every single one of these things on the outline because it's my show right now. And Melody is right behind me because she's just as organized as I am. So, yeah, we're going to go. It's going to
added my personal notes even.
Wow.
Yeah, we don't fuck around, my friend.
That's impressive.
So,
all right, now let's talk about some gangster rap.
All right.
I'm just kidding.
Okay, let's go.
Let's skip the first half and let's just skip.
No.
So we've done the welcome. So number 1 is our welcome, but 2, it's tradition, Dr. Detroit, that we always talk about 2 things to start the show. 1, we talk about what we've been up to, and 2, we talk about what we're watching. And so I'm going to start with Santore because 1, he looks the most bored and not paying attention of anybody, but also because he probably has the most the coolest story because he is on a road trip and he is filming a show. Mr. Santore, what the hell have you been up to?
I've been hanging out in Oklahoma with number 1 Dix's aunt, and been doing some work painting bathrooms, spackling some walls. Tomorrow I'm planting some flowers, and just trying to keep myself busy.
That is a much more boring answer than I had expected, Mr. Santore. Tell us about your trip to Virginia and tell us about the Santore project.
Santore project is on pause right now, but we're going to be going to Dallas Monday. We might be doing some things in Dallas that James had planned out for us, maybe this trip. It all depends on what we got going on. If not, then we're definitely going back on the road November 8th, and then we're going back to Texas, California. So looking forward to that. But right now we're just, taking it easy, getting our rest in because we plan on traveling all through the new year. So we're just resting up here, doing some little side projects for the aunt and her friends, and doing the podcast, everyone.
Awesome. Santore project is a really cool concept, and I think we might have lost Santore, but really cool concept.
Podcast with Dr. Detroit.
There you go. He's back.
Sorry about this. My phone sucks because I'm like in the middle of nowhere, so the connection's not that good. So if I come in and out, it's because phone sucks. But yeah, everything's going good.
Yeah, Santore just went to Washington, D.C., went through the Blue Ridge Parkway and through Virginia. God, where else did you go? You went down to Memphis, Tennessee. I mean, so, make sure you guys are following Santore Project on Instagram, as well as you can go on to ChuckyPacific.com and follow Santore Project there. Like he said, he's taking a little bit of a break, and then he's going back out on the road, and we're going to send his ass out west this time. So Santore goes west. He's like 5-0.
Right, and I appreciate that because I want to stay nowhere near snow. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right. So Ben, next we have Mel, fresh off of the surgical gurney. She is one organ lighter. Mel, tell us what the fuck you've been up to since we saw you last.
Well, I was sick of my gallbladder, so I had the doctor cut that shit out.
Fuck that gallbladder.
That was it. Yeah. No, I don't know. It was like stomach pain, but it was so bad that I went to the hospital. I've had kids, and I went to the hospital over stomach pain. You know what I mean? So it had to be bad. And they did a scan, and basically, ladies in particular, females over 40 who are still fertile, and they also use some terms like fat, which they said not everybody qualifies for all of them. Just 3 out of 4 is fine. You're more likely to have gallstones, and you may not even know it, but it is slowly creating backup, and you may have pancreatitis eventually, which is what happened to me. So to prevent that, they just removed it. So it's pretty cool. The details are kind of gory, but it was really neat. Like, it was scary, but I'm good. So, they give you some good drugs. It's not like I even remember having it done.
Well, we need we need one of those for like just the year 2020, just something that'll like knock us out for the next like 3 months and kind of like erase 90% of last year.
Seriously, that anesthesia is no joke. Like 2 weeks later, I was still foggy headed. It takes a long time to get back from that. I don't know, it's kind of what Michael Jackson was sleeping, taking a sleep. That's crazy. I don't know how you wake up and do anything coming off of that. Like, it's intense.
Well, if anything, you build a tolerance, and apparently he had a high tolerance for.
He must have, because they said it's normal for it to take weeks to wear off. So
weird.
Wow.
Yeah.
So there's also some other big news that you have, if you want to share.
Oh yeah, I'm going back to school in 10
back
days.
To school. Back to school. Going to prove that I'm not a fool.
I am a college student now, full time. I'm going back. I'm going back for a second bachelor's degree in psychology, and I am going to work towards, my master's and maybe PhD also in psychology. I'm heading down that road. I've been doing sales and not been able to be myself for a long time, and I don't like it. And I think the lockdown has made a lot of people depressed. And I think I have a lot to add in that area, and a lot of input and a lot of compassion that I can, generate that way. So that's kind of my goal. I'm thinking like marriage, family / addiction and trauma type therapy. So, families going through issues kind of stuff.
Yeah, if you guys, James and Melody recorded a series of videos during the lockdown about like how to survive the quarantine, how to survive the lockdown, and they're really excellent. So make sure you guys go back on Truckee Pacific, our Facebook page, and check those out, especially if you can't stand your partner. Maybe this will help you bridge that gap.
Or come to terms with the fact that you can't stand your partner and find the partner you could find. I mean, it's totally...
That's really depressing, but it's true.
No, that's the truth. The goal is not necessarily to save every marriage; it's to save every person. So.
And one thing I'm really proud of you, Mel, because it's not easy to quit a job that is paying you really well, and you're taking a big leap of faith. So that's very commendable. So I'm very proud of you for doing that.
Thank you.
I really think that 2020 has really done that. It's like. Yeah. It's kind of boiled it down to what's important in your life, what makes you happy. And a lot of people have realized that doing the normal 9 to 5, whatever the fuck they're doing, is not making them happy. So, now is a great time to pursue something that you love.
Not.
So,
and it's not as hard as it sounds. If you already have a bachelor's degree, going back in for another degree, like all your general education stuff, it transfers over. I'm a year from my from my bachelor's already. Like, it's not as daunting as it sounds when you first think about it. You're like, that's like 8 years of school, it's not. And so if you want to do it, you can do it.
All right.
Just replay that.
This is a great place to come for some motivation. All right. And then last but not least, our newest guest, Mr. Dr. Detroit. What the hell are you up to these days?
Oh man, trying to get my teenager ready for life. I took him to get his driving permit. That was interesting because I had to sit back and let him answer all of the questions and he had to sign, and I told him they don't teach cursive in school. I said, you have to learn. Oh, Dad, we just use fingerprint. We just hit a button. And they asked him to sign it. And it was the most hilarious thing because I just folded my arms and just looked at him. And he's like struggling, sweating, trying to make the J and the U. I was like, it's going to be on your license forever. So have at it, you know. So that's that. And he got him set up for the SAT tomorrow, you know.
Nice. Those are scary times, aren't they?
Yeah. I couldn't even prepare for it. I couldn't imagine it. But it's kind of what it is. It's like, okay. They grew up so fast, and then I try to give them everything that I can, and they're just different. We give them our advice, but times are different, life's different, they're different. So it gets frustrating, but, you know, I'm learning to pull back and kind of let him have his own experiences while I try to guide him and steer him to, you know, but I'm looking to try to get him into school, like you were talking about, you know. So that's kind of what's been like in the main thing. Above everything else, that's kind of been what's going on. And I'm in the classes too. I've been in IT for many years, and I started seeing these younger folks come in, and I was like, these kids, they come out of the womb with tablets, computers. I'm like, how long am I going to compete? So I got to do something to either become either a teacher, professor, or consultant or something. So I just went back and jumped into the grad program to just do a master's information technology, so that I can just be an old guy with a beard and just teach about 2 days a week and get blown on my breaks and come in and talk about computers and hopefully get paid, you know, a nice amount of money. But that's pretty much been what I've been doing, you know. But I'm thankful, no complaints.
It's a time for growth for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it.
Yeah. And, you know, it kind of goes into what I've been doing. I decided a couple years ago that I hate being in the industry that I do. And I love to write. And luckily, I've been able to publish a couple books, and that's really all I'm doing. I go to work, and then I come home, and I either do stuff for Truckee Pacific, or I'm writing. I'm about 70,000 words deep into my first official adult horror novel that has lots of cussing and lots of blood and violence, and that's kind of my wheelhouse. I grew up watching and reading Stephen King and watching horror movies and shit, so this is my first foray into adult horror, and it's going well. It's really fun. So, you know, like I said, it just kind of boils down to 2020. Just, you know, you find out what's really important to you, and that's what you're going to start concentrating on. And, you know, after this fucking quarantine is over, after the virus is gone, we're going to have so much art and so many people pursuing their passions that, you know, I'm an optimist, I guess, that I think there's going to be a brighter tomorrow, because everybody right now is living through the darkness, and it's just going to be brighter tomorrow. So you
feel like it's going to be like a renaissance?
Exactly, 100%. You know, after the 1918 Spanish flu, there was an explosion in art and writing. That's also when movies started going to, you know, having a vocal and sound in movies. So you saw an explosion of art then, and you're going to see the same thing. Just, you know, look at the different ways that musicians, which kind of ties back into our show, just look at the way the musicians are learning to adapt, you know, having concerts and having festivals and shit. There was a fucking band, it's escaping me. I can't remember, but they just had a concert where everybody showed up and they had their own personal bubble. And so, like, the guy he walked on top of everybody's bubble in his own bubble. I mean, like, you know, people are learning ways to be artistic and creative, and, you know, people are, I'd say, no, I can't say everybody, but most people are like finding out what they're passionate about and pursuing those passions. So, all right,
I like it.
Next thing on our outline, this is where we talk about what we're watching, because, you know, we love weed here and we love to talk about everything, but at the end of the day, we're a pop culture podcast. And so, you know, what better way to talk about pop culture than shit we're watching? So I'm going to start opposite direction. Dr. Detroit, what the fuck you watching these days?
Oh man, I told you before, like, my favorite show was, or it still is, Walking Dead. But ever since I heard the news, I haven't turned it on because I'm sad that it's ending. And plus, my wife and the kids, somehow they just took over all the TVs. So what I have been watching is YouTube, and it may sound weird, but for hours I've been watching YouTube of rap from other countries, like Russia, Yugoslavia, all these. I don't understand any of the languages, but what's odd is about it is the music sounds the same and the cadence and the energy and everything is the same. But it's just amazing to see, because it's like a totally different country, and it's like, wow, you know what I'm saying? So I've been kind of watching that, and I'll flip through and just seeing just how music is just transcending like the world. So for like the last week or so, that's what I've been doing at night. I'll sit there and just kind of click through and look at all of the countries and look at, what their music culture is. So that's kind of what's been really intriguing me in like the last, I'd say, week or so.
That's very cool. All right, Mel, back to you. What are you watching these days?
Mostly The Haunting of Bly Manor, which is like the second season of The Haunting of Hill House from last year.
How's that? I loved Hill House.
It's crazy, but it's not like scary. Like it's the topic. It's not scary to me, but people will love it, and some people will think it's scary. Some people aren't zombie fans or whatever, so that's what it is. But it's really good, and it's kind of a mind one. Is anybody else watching it?
I just finished the first episode.
Okay.
See, I got a kid. My wife had it on, and I was like, "Why does this look so familiar?" And I was like, "Isn't that the lady from?" And she's older now with the gray hair. And I was like, "Is this a spinoff?" But until you just said it, I didn't know that this was a continuation. I thought they ripped it off.
It's just the second season, and I think like it's going to be similar, but they're not. They're not in the same universe technically. It's kind of thing. I don't know, but it looks like the same house, right? Yeah. I think it looks like the same house. Anyways, it's good. It's good. I only have 2 episodes left, and I only started it last week. I don't usually do that. I've been watching Utopia, that series about the virus. It's pretty good. It's a little heavy. Just because of the actual pandemic going on. So, and Lovecraft Country. I'm almost done with that, and that is crazy. I've been watching it with my son. He's almost 20. I'm not a bad mom. But I'm watching that with my son, and it's been crazy, crazy good. So he's out of town. When he comes home, we'll finish that off. And then the other thing I did try watching the first episode of is Good Lord Bird. It's a Showtime series, and it's like it's in Missouri before the Civil War, or maybe right during it. No, it had to be before the Civil War because it's supposedly the story of how it starts. But it's like dark comedy. It's got Ethan Hawke and Daveed Diggs from the Hamilton musical. He's playing Frederick Douglass in this. It's quick, witty type. I don't know. You have to check it out. Like you'll either like it or hate it. It's an interesting way to tell the story, and you have to see for yourself. It's interesting, but I've only 1 episode in, so I have to give it more time before I know for sure. And that's it, because I'm also back in school, so I'm doing homework.
All right. Well, I can tell you, Utopia, that's one of the shows I was going to talk about as well. But Utopia is great. Rainn Wilson, John Cusack are fantastic in that show. So, so I definitely recommend Utopia. Santore, what the hell are you watching? Besides yourself in your skivvies washing down Mary Beth's car. Other than that, what you watching? I think you're on mute, Holmes.
Yeah, it's muted.
I don't think,
Santore,
you're on mute. So I'm going to talk about what I'm watching until Santore figures out his mute button. So I've been watching Utopia, finished Utopia, been catching up on Schitt's Creek. Santore, you're with us. All right. Now he's gone again.
He's gone.
Yeah.
He's teasing us.
This is almost exactly what happened last week when my parents tried to call in. It's like, hello, and they're like, echo, or we can't hear them or something. So this is 2 weeks in a row. So I'm gonna keep going. So Utopia, fantastic show. Schitt's Creek has been amazing. I'm almost done with that, and unfortunately, it's the last season. Santore, hey, if you can figure out your mute button, man, come on back. We miss you. And then real quickly, my son and I do a review show. All right, he's back. All right.
I'm back. No, I'm back. I'm back. Sorry about that. No, I've been watching absolutely nothing except me in my underwear washing cars. That's all
I can watch that shit all day long too.
Thank you very much. Yes, no, I have not watched anything on Netflix. I haven't watched anything. Just pretty much just regular TV. Seinfeld, watched that last night and still love it. So, but no TV here.
All right. Well, going back to what I was talking about, my son and I, we do Truckee Pacific reviews. Last week we watched Hubie Halloween, which is the new Adam Sandler Halloween movie. And it was surprisingly funny. Like, if you like Adam Sandler, then you'll really like this movie. But if you don't like Adam Sandler, then you'll hate this movie. So it's we thought it was pretty good. It's pretty funny. And it's part of the Adam Sandler universe. And so he like brings back characters and shit from like Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison. So that was great. But the show that I watched that I need all of you guys to watch is a movie called The Social Dilemma on Netflix. It is all about how social media companies get you wrapped into social media and how you become like a social media zombie and what that has caused to our society. You can just look at Facebook. Go on Facebook and just look at all the anger that is on Facebook. And that was a byproduct of all these AI algorithms from all of these social media companies to get you like hooked on their sites. And then this is kind of like the byproduct. And like, then how do we break this addiction we have to social media? So I can't recommend that enough. It's on Netflix. Great fucking movie called The Social Dilemma. So totally recommend that.
Wow. Okay.
All right. So we talked about what we're watching. So then what's next on our outline is what we're smoking. But I think there's only a couple of us that are smoking tonight. And so, Mel, what you smoking tonight?
Tonight I am smoking some Cherry Diesel, which is the sativa that we got from Livewell in Green Valley Ranch on Tower Road. And actually, I really like that store. They're always very nice. It's very quick. You can order online, and they're just great there. And they have good deals on bongs.
Good deals on bongs. That's a good place to go.
Yeah.
One thing that I feel is that we're a podcast, and so I think we've kind of gotten away from talking about the weed and shit. So I want to bring it back. I want to give a lot of love to my light shade on Iliff and Buckley. I literally don't know anybody's name there, but they're all super nice. They're very friendly. They're very thoughtful. Like, if you give them $1 tip, you act like you just gave them a 20 spot or something like that. The recommendations are always on point. Their shake weed, you have like shake weed special, so you get like an ounce of weed for $60, which is unheard of, and the shit's really good. And then they also are doing this thing where they are buying weed from local organic shops. And so tonight I am smoking this strawberry shortcake that was recommended for me. Even though it's an indica, I like sativa. But the guy said, like, it kind of works like a sativa, and it makes you energetic and makes you talk a lot, which me, I never talk. So, but this shit is called strawberry shortcake, and they bought it from this place called Veritas. And you get this like really cool like little weed canister that weighs about 5 pounds, and it holds like a little bit of weed. So it's kind of overkill on the old packaging, but really great shit. And I really love Lightshade on Iliff and Buckley. I mean, they don't pay us to say that. I like to go there. That's my go-to spot. So weed places are a lot like Starbucks now, where you have your specific place that you like to go to. Like, you'll venture out, and then like your experience probably won't be as good. So you're like, I need to just go to my regular spot. So
yeah.
And that place is Lightshade, Iliff and Buckley. All right, I
will back that up, Dave, because I know which one you're talking about. It's over by that McDonald's on the corner.
Yeah, right next to their old high school.
Yeah. I used to live near there, and they were always good to us too. They were very good to us. Had we not bought our house in a different city, we'd still go there.
Absolutely. Good weed there. Is anybody else? Are you guys smoking or having a beer or anything? Are you doing?
We're allowed to say it. No.
I know, right? I was out. I didn't want to be late, so I had just a little bit of a pre-mixed margarita in here.
Nice.
All right.
I've been getting I don't have it right now, but the what do you call it? The vapes. I guess it's the oil, but the vapor pens. So I've been trying those. That'll be pretty cool because convenient. So I haven't had like any actual true buds in quite a while. But I'm looking forward to it. From what you're explaining, either they're gonna have to make it, because when you go to the places here, I mean, you can. It just seems like, I don't know. It's not like you guys there. It seems like it's just carte blanche, whatever you want. Here it's like I've gone in sometimes and the guy just start yelling, "Oh, just let you know, there's no flowers left." Like, what? So I guess certain time people come in and they just buy up all of the regular bud. So I'm like, whatever, I'll just get, the vape or whatever. But
it'll get there. It'll get there.
Yeah, I can't wait for you to come and hang out with us, though. So,
oh yeah,
fly all the way up here from Florida. We'll, record a show. We'll fucking get you super high.
All right.
Our mutual friend DW, we smoked him out so hard that he left in the middle of the show and never came back. So, be careful what you wish for. We can fucking smoke down a lot of weed. And right. Santore, are you drinking? You're not drinking, right? You're smoking anything besides cigarettes?
No weed here. Just smoking cigarettes, and I'm still not drinking alcohol. So,
well, good.
Yeah.
Well, make on your way through Texas, make a big loop. Come back through Colorado real quick, and then just loop back over to Texas. Stock up. Not that I'm advocating transporting weed across state lines. I'm totally not doing that. But if you were, this is a good place to stop by.
Oh, absolutely. No, I'm in. Trust me, because I've been actually I stopped at a CBD store and they've been selling us some CBD joints that have probably 0.76% THC. So I've been kind of mind fucking myself and thinking I actually am high, but I'm not really. But it's still it's a nice little substitute, even though it's not the real thing. But yeah, I would need to do that. Trust me, because I love weed.
And we love you. We just want to come and hang out with you and number one dick up here. So, the weed's just a fun extra, but we actually get to see you in person. All
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
the
reason why we have all gathered here tonight is because these are the three most musically minded people that I know. And tonight is a music show. Hence the fact that James is not here because his music expertise in the 90s rap was crisscross and a little bit of Vanilla Ice there towards the end. Yeah. So we're talking about 90s rap, and I have dubbed it the decade of rap. Yeah, my personal opinion is that the 1990s was the single best decade for rap. And not just 90, it started kind of late 80s, but it led into this powerhouse music of the early 90s, and then it kind of fizzled out. And so I dubbed 90s the decade of rock, or the decade of rap, because all of us from all our different walks of life have enjoyed the rap coming out of the 90s. And so I think it'd be fun for us to kind of go back in time. Most of us were in high school or a little bit older, and just talk about the great music that came out of the 90s and some of these great artists. So Dr. Detroit, since you are our guest, what was it about 90s rap that just made that music so good?
Well, I think the biggest thing about 90s rap, that made it so good is because it came out of being this, small, marginalized, taboo kind of thing to where the world was embracing it and other cultures were oh, this is cool. And it kind of moved away from it just being a part of one culture to I guess an international culture, I'll say at that point. And so other people great people like Rick Rubin and people were able to get involved and say, well, hey, people who have musical expertise will actually say, well, hey, yeah, this kid over here, they just doing this in the lunchroom or on the street. Hey, why don't we bring him into these nice studios and put some professional, artists behind them and do this and videos. I think that's what kind of brought it to the forefront. It took it from this raw street part, which they still kept, but they were able to put something nice behind it where it was marketable and everyone could embrace it and enjoy it, because it was no longer something just grimy that only this group of people maybe understood. It was wow, this is an art form that everybody can get into and enjoy, and it was just fun to listen to and interesting. There was, of course, during that time when the videos was out, which helped it catapulted to the next level. But I would say that was kind of the thing that made it so great, man. You had the influences of musicianship and technology at that time, and like I say, other great people in the industry who helped it become what it is.
What about you, Mel? What do you think? What made 90s rap so good?
I think what made it good was, I don't know, it was like a serendipitous time for it. Does that make sense? Like, I think a lot of people, there was a lot going on. Not like there's not a lot going on now. It's 2020. It feels weird saying there was a lot going on in the 90s, but there was. And I think it did a good job of expressing like what everybody saw every day in some way. Maybe you weren't all caught up in certain parts of certain rap, but like there was a part of it for everybody. The part, and the dancing and all of that, like doing the different dances that come to certain songs and everything. It's like country line dancing. If you know it, you're in, right? Like that makes it so fun. It's like the Macarena, but not as annoying. So that would be, I think that's how it appealed to everybody, really. I mean, and MTV, like really putting out, that MTV's raps and all of that, and then getting BET, their own network that focused on like that kind of music more. Like it expanded from there. And so I think it was new and creativity was encouraged because there wasn't a specific like lockdown formula for every single successful rap song yet. It just wasn't out there. Like rock, everything's 1-4-5, all the chords. It's just a combination of it. Is it going to be happy or slow or whatever? That's what makes a difference. So, I mean, not all, I'm way oversimplifying music, but so I think that's part of it is there was just a lot of creativity. There were no rules yet. So I like that.
What about you, Santore? Do you have anything to add there? And he's on mute again. Still on mute.
No, I'm back. Hey, I have to agree with both what Doctor and Mel said. I mean, it was like new coming in like from late '80s and early '90s. It was something new and different. People saw the creativity of it, and it's you went from like metal to like rock, and then you went to grunge, and then you had rap there too, which you had some early '90s. You had MC Hammer, Young MC, and then of course MWA and Dre and all that. That already happened, but I think it made more of an impact, and people like got more aware of it. It was good, and it was like something new, and it was very creative. It was good.
I'm going to stay with you here, Santore. Tell me, what are your personal experiences with rap? Because, I was surprised when I, said like, how good are you at 90s rap? You're like, I fucking love 90s rap. And, sorry, I'm surprised that it's kind of, a dick thing that I'm surprised about that. But so obviously you have a personal experience with rap. So what is that?
My friends had MTXs and 12-inch speakers and bass in their cars. And so every car that I got into was playing either Public Enemy or Dre or, Ghetto Boys and all that. So I was pretty much, sit in the car. And then I would go to clubs. And, at that time, that's what was out and I was new. And that's what I was dancing to and, grinding to. So, I mean, it was all new. And that was, at that era, that's what was, in. So that's how I got involved was, and I especially at that time, my favorite band of all time and that time then was Public Enemy. I mean, Chuck D and Flav, they were it. So yeah, that's how I got involved. MTXs, 12 inches of big old bass speakers, and then a little Honda Civic of all things. So if you got a little car and you got all that bass, you're getting nothing but vibration.
Yeah. And then everyone who had a car like that in their room for some reason somehow built into their bed would be like another version of the subwoofers from their trunk because they just have to hear all music that way always, right? Or at least that's how it was when I was a teenager.
Oh, yeah. You had to have the bass.
Right.
I never
like
could
built
afford
into
the
bed. I'm like, okay.
So what about you, Dr. D? What's your personal connection to rap? Rap in general, but kind of like that narrowed down early 90s rap.
Yeah, I think it's, of course, listening in the 70s. And then I used to listen to when people would say, oh, it's kind of a fad. And I was like, oh, well, maybe it's just passing thing. But for me, it was when Run DMC, because they, Rick Rubin is just awesome to me because of what he heard. He heard what other people didn't hear. And so he recognized that rap was like this raw energy, and he understood it was the same exact raw energy of rock. And he was like, this is the same energy, musically, and he merged them together. And next thing you know, you got Run DMC, Aerosmith. And I think that in itself was like, for me, a moment to where, wow, music showed me that music is universal. That it's just much more than, you know, a person from this neighborhood or from this part of the world. He showed us that, no, this music is something that's just highly spiritual, highly just transcends everything else. And from then I was like, oh, when Rick Rubin did that, and it was, you know, Aerosmith and Run DMC, I was like, this rap thing is here to stay. And it just got me excited about where it was going to go.
All right. I really like that. You know, Rick Rubin, I don't know if enough people know how fucking amazing Rick Rubin is. He's produced like fucking Run DMC and Slayer. I mean, like, this dude has fucking just produced everybody. I mean, he's so creative. System of a Down, he's produced Beastie Boys. He's like, you know, he's just this weird Jay-Z. I mean, like, he's a fucking visionary, weird fucking dude. Especially, I highly recommend you go and watch the Beastie Boys documentary on Apple, because Rick Rubin is a weird fucking guy, but fucking brilliant. He's a really brilliant producer. Yes. All right, Mel, what about you? I know you grew up in a musical family, so, you know, what's your connection to this music?
I grew up in a musical family, and my family was not snobby about rap being introduced into the music sphere. They were very open-minded about it. It wasn't like they're like, oh, you know, some people back then, musicians were like, that's not real music. But my dad was a drummer. Like, he heard the music in it, of course. There's a lot of rhythm in that. So, and I was from the Bay Area. I was from East Oakland, and I was raised there in the 80s and 90s, well, late 70s and 80s and 90s. So for me, I don't remember the first time I heard rap. I don't remember thinking it was new. I remember seeing it, like, you go to, you know, like festivals and stuff, and local performers were already doing it when I was little. I just thought it was a style of music. Like, I'd heard classical music and jazz and rock and heavy metal, and so I just figured it was another style that I didn't know of yet, and here it was. I always thought it was around. And it wasn't until I got older that I found out it was new. So it's always been there.
That's great. You know, there's a lot of great music that come out of the Bay Area, but of course, the number one artist that came out of the Bay Area, when we're talking about 90s rap, was MC Hammer.
Oh my God, no, you can't do that. I mean, okay, fine. In some ways.
Unfortunately, he really is. But when you're talking about like your personal connection to rap, you know, I'm a fucking white suburban kid. Like, my introduction to rap was what was being played on MTV at the time. So early 90s, we're talking about, I'm in like the 7th to 8th grade. So I don't watch Yo MTV Raps, and that's where they're playing like the real rap from like the late 80s, so like the Beastie Boys, Run DMC. But then like on the general station, they're playing Vanilla Ice and MC Hammer, because that shit is selling massive. Yeah. So my connection to fucking rap was MC Hammer. I'm ashamed to say this. I am ashamed to say this, but I had a fucking pair of Hammer pants in middle school that I had made my parents buy me. Yes, I had Hammer pants. I couldn't do the typewriter dance. And then Vanilla Ice. You know, too legit, you know.
That came up the other day, and I was doing that for my kids. I was like, too legit to quit. What the hell are you doing? Okay, fine. He gets some props.
Well, he's a lot of people's introductions. But so my parents, a lot like yours, Mel. My parents were, you know, hippies, and they were pretty liberal growing up, and so they didn't like resist a whole lot when I said like, hey Mom, I would really like a couple of rap CDs for Christmas. And so my mom, who's white lady in suburbia, she goes to the Sam Goody, because we actually had CD stores at this time, and she brought me 2 CDs for Christmas that year. The first one was Will Smith, the one with Summertime on it, you know, the summertime. Yeah. And the other one was Straight Outta Compton, NWA. We had no idea what the fuck it was. And she's like, here's a CD. I've never heard of these guys. So I put it in, like, the first fucking word is like, Straight Outta Compton. Like, fuck yes. So, and then that, you know, just listening to, you know, Ice Cube or NWA, it sent me on this path where, I'm sorry, but Will Smith can't compare to NWA. And I was an angry child anyway. And then I started, like, you know, fucking Public Enemy played with Anthrax. You know, I'm a metalhead. And when Public Enemy went with Anthrax, that shit fucking blew my mind. And, you know, it just set me on this path that I love 90s rap. I just love 90s rap almost as much at that time as I love heavy metal, and they're so great. And like at that time was like, the NWA just come out. Public Enemy came out with Fight the Power with what the fuck was that movie? Spike Lee movie. Help me.
Do the right thing.
Yeah.
Do the right thing. Yeah. And then like in '90s, as soon as 1990 comes out, you have Ice Cube with America's Most Wanted. I mean, just like fucking explode into the decade. So that brings me to the next point on our outline. See how that works?
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So who are the top 5 rap artists from the decade? And I'm gonna start with you, Mel.
Okay, I want to say I cheated your system. This is more than 5 artists, but these are groups of people that came from same groups and perhaps went on to do better single things later. Okay.
There's no rules.
Right.
There's no rules. This isn't a James games. There's no rules in this vault.
Cool. So these are my 90s top 5 artist-ish type group things. Out of the Bay Area specifically, there was a group called The Click who later went on to become E40. So I listened to a lot of them. I listened to a lot of Digital Underground, which I think Tupac originally came from, and Shock G. And then, of course, NWA and Dre, which later became Snoop. I lumped them all into one general area because I didn't know how else to do this. Mystical, I will get to him later on. Cypress Hill and Tribe Called Quest.
Man,
those were probably my top 5.
That is wow.
All right, Santori, top 5 artists, rap artists of the 90s.
I'm neurotic.
My opinion? All right, that would be, first of all, NWA, Run DMC. Well, they were like early 80s, or like late 90s. And then you got Public Enemy. And then you have Diggable Planets. I don't know if anyone remembers Diggable
Yeah, I
Planets.
remember them.
Dance is a trance, I do the hump.
Nope, that was Digital Underground.
That
But you were talking about, they were like, I'm cool like that. I'm cool like
cool
that.
like that. I'm cool like, yes.
I remember
Diggable
that.
Planet. Yes. And then, where am I at? 3 or 4? How many do I have? 3 or 4? I have 4,
However
right?
many.
So I have to name one more. I'm going to have to go ahead and say Dre. Chronic.
Yeah.
All right. Dr. D.
Wow. I need a minute. I'm just like, man, I'm just very impressed with wow, with what you guys came up with. It just, wow. But, so I would have to say, yeah, definitely, Dr. Dre, with his later stuff with Snoop and the whole Chronic era. NWA as a group, they have to be up there, definitely. Beastie Boys, that was my group as well. That's 3. I also during that time, I would say, did I say Ice Cube? Yeah, I know he's NWA, but I liked when he did his thing separate. And then Eminem, that would be my top 5.
Nice.
Eminem coming out in 1999, so you just made
That's
the
right.
All
That's
right.
it. That's right.
No, he actually came out in 1995, 97. 97.
He was out. Yeah, he had his own stuff before
Yeah.
then, and then I think he got picked up with Dre, and then they came
97.
out. Yeah.
So
I
for
think it was
me,
97 he came out with. My name is Slim Shady. Yeah, that was 97, I believe. Sorry.
Yeah.
Don't
want to correct anybody, but
I don't know.
Nice.
I'm going off of what Spotify says. So I'm gonna go with Spotify. We're
All
gonna
right,
say
let's see,
1998. It's because we could both be wrong. We'll just say 1998, just so we can split it between the two.
Okay, fine. All right.
For me, top 5, just like solo artists, would have to be Dre, Ice Cube, Tupac, Notorious BIG, and Snoop Dogg. But that just kind of shows you how powerful NWA was. Like 2 of the best artists of the decade come out of the same group. So that's pretty incredible. But it's not just solo artists, man. There's groups like you said, like Public Enemy is fucking tearing it up. Beastie Boys put out some of their best stuff in the 90s, and then you have Bone. I loved Bone Thugs and Harmony, and
yeah.
Yeah.
How did I forget them?
I don't know how you forgot that. I
right?
listened to they were so fast. I think that's what like really made me love them. Is like they were so tight and so fast together. Their rhymes were really great. But that leads me to our next point. We have some great artists. They put out some great albums. So kind of, what are your favorite albums from the decade? I'm gonna go Santori.
Fear of the Black Planet from Public Enemy. The Chronic from Dre. Cube with his American Most Wanted. I would have to say that's all I got right now. I'm memorizing stuff. I just know lyrics, like songs and stuff. But yeah, those top 3 right there for me. I would have to do it.
Great albums in there. What do you think, Mel?
Nice. I go ahead and go to Dr. D. I made a long
Dr.
list.
D.
I want to see if anybody else does stuff first.
I have to go with America's Most Wanted, Ice Cube. That was awesome. I have to go with that time that was who I was on. Public Enemy, Fear of a Black Planet. That was the same one during that time. The Beastie Boys. I'm trying to remember what the cover. I just remember getting the album cover. I'm trying to remember if it was just titled them or if they had a title. But the very first Beastie Boys album, Run DMC's King of Rock album, and I think for my 5th it had to be the very first NWA.
Nice.
When their very first, the very first one when Eazy-E was. Ice Cube was writing, but Eazy-E was doing the rapping on it.
Yeah.
So did they cover any of the ones on your list there, Mel? I know you have a list of probably 10, right?
I have a page of albums. So I will just go over. I'm gonna do this very quick. I won't take it crazy. Obviously, the Chronic was like the first one that came to my list. And then I tried to think of things that I specifically listened to in the 90s, and I was very West Coast. I was in Oakland, California. The only other place I went to was LA. So like East Coast rap was kind of, it's what I saw on MTV, but it wasn't what I was listening to in my car. So like I said, E40, if anybody remembers him at all, he started with a group called The Click from California, and they had an album called Down and Dirty. And I don't know if anybody remembers, there was a song called Captain Save-A-Ho. It's like, I want to be saved. Anybody?
No.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
That's what I'm tripping out right now. I'm just, wow.
I specifically remember being in high school, because now post Me Too, that is not a lot of this shit I listen to when I clean my house, and I feel so bad because I'm aware, you guys, like I'm aware, but I want to be safe because on it I'm like, yeah, I want to be, and I just remember being in high school and guys would drive by with their cars and they'd be playing that song and you would dance to it like you wanted to be the hoe being saved, and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with us? But I have to admit that was my shit. And then he did his own shit like Mailman and in a Major Way, which I don't think ever really went mainstream, so that's okay. And then a really local guy named Dre Dog had an album called The New Jim Jones. It is very dark, it is very weird, it glorifies all kinds of drugs, but if you're into that at all, it is available on all the regular music streaming services. It's just really uncommon. And then like the Cypress Hill album, the one, I think it was just called Cypress Hill, and I don't know if nobody else mentioned The Brat, Functified. Yeah.
Yes.
And then, unfortunately, I don't know how, but I went through a Cash Money phase. Like, I think it was mid to late 90s. So that's why I said I'd bring up Mr. Cal later. He was really fast, just like, I think it was Wishbone that always rapped really fast. So he rapped really fast like that, but he had this, like, I don't know, there's this personality behind it. And I was always like, I don't understand what it is. But I feel like I feel him yelling. I don't know. But it's not like, I can't explain it. It turns out like his sister died. They used to make music together. And then his sister was killed by her boyfriend. And so a lot of his songs, like there's messages to her in there. And I think that's why it's so emotional and deep. So you wouldn't expect that from Make 'Em Say, but he produced that album. But I found him by chance by going through like Fifth Ward Boys and Cash Money stuff, like Make 'Em Say and See Murder and Juvenile. I don't know how I ended up there, but I recommend him a lot. And he had a lot of good shit. I think that kind of backed a lot of it. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. I gotta say, I'm like speechless. Just being real, I mean, like, wow. All the songs that you're saying, you're talking about, honestly, you would think, or just myself, I would think like, okay, this is music no one else outside of our little bubble or something understands it.
Mm-hmm.
And to hear you right now naming all of those songs, and it's just blowing my mind, and it just further just shows, like I told some guy the other day, I was like, this music doesn't belong to a culture. It's like if somebody's hearing it or feeling it, it's for them.
Yeah. Now,
for you to, that's amazing.
I admit that there's parts of it, you know, like Tupac has an album where I was going to write it on the list, and then I was like, I can't even say the word in the album. You know?
Yes, you can. Go for it.
No. Not going to be me. But I can still appreciate it and listen to it, you know. I find other words that are not, I don't replace it like that. I might just skip it. It's not, but no, you're right. I can appreciate it. And like I said, I was really growing up in the culture. I'm not bullshitting. Like I lived in the same neighborhood Too Short was in when he was like selling rap albums out of his trunk. He was selling tapes out of his trunk down the street from my house. It was a wild time for rap, and it was a fun time to be there. So
I would love to hear more about that. What about, oh man, this is just one, and it's still in the same thing. I think he came around that time, but I caught up with him later. Somebody introduced me to his music, and then I'm just like a forever fan. But I know when I say the name, you go. What about Mac Dre?
Yes. Oh, rest in peace, Mac
I know.
Dre. Yes.
I don't know. He just one of those, and you know way more about me from being there. But from the first time you heard, I'm like, oh, there's something about this guy, you know.
Yeah, no, there's something about you can tell there's certain people that just do a different, it's real, and maybe not literally what they're saying in the songs is real even, but there's a real reason for why they were inspired to say what they said, and it's not, there's stuff in there. It's not all about bitches and hoes. It's a lot about bitches and hoes, but sometimes people are bitches and hoes. It's inner dialogue on music, you know what I mean?
Right. Wow, that's awesome though.
And I think the most significant, this is my opinion, of course, the most significant album to come out of the 90s was The Chronic.
Yes.
Because that was the first like real album that was like an edgy rap album. Because before that, like I said, it was fucking MC Hammer and Criss Cross and Vanilla Ice. And then you have The Chronic, which is unabashedly, you know, misogynistic. Obviously, it's called The Chronic, and they talk about weed a lot. Introduced fucking Snoop Dogg, who, you know, does his own thing, but it introduced it to a massive white audience. Mm-hmm. And that was the first time they're like, fuck yes, you know, like now I feel kind of edgy listening to The Chronic, but it also inspired them to start finding some of these other artists. And so if you listen to The Chronic, then you start going to Ice Cube and then back to NWA, and then you're like, you know, what else, you know, sounds like this shit? And so, and also like it gave folks like me like an insight into what's going on in fucking Compton or in Bronx.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had no idea that, you know, there's this, you know, this neighborhood in LA that is called Compton and Watts and shit. And I wouldn't know that shit really unless it was because of rap. And so it inspired me to like look into these neighborhoods, and you find out a lot of rich history that they're talking about. Mm-hmm. So I've said this before on the Mile High podcast, I believe that the reason why so many states right now have legal weed is because of The Chronic. Because all these lawmakers right now were listening to The Chronic, fucking smoking weed in their friend's basement. Like we all were listening to The Chronic, and like one day, man, weed's gonna be legal. And then these people turned into today's politicians and lawmakers, and weed has like it has like a 90% like approval rating. It has bringing left wings and right wings together because we all want to get high and have a good time. So I directly link today's weed legislation with The Chronic because fucking Dr. Dre is just that good. But one album you guys forgot, Enter the Wu-Tang.
Oh yeah, classic.
I was like, it was, you know, right up there with, I would listen to Wu-Tang about as much as I listened to The Chronic or Snoop, but I fucking love the Wu-Tang. I like their style because they hit hard. I mean, you know, West Coast is very, you know, like really rhythmic, and you know, it's like you're driving. You know, if music was, you know, emotion, it was sitting back and driving. Whereas this fucking East Coast shit was just like in your face.
We were driving.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it was a very different vibe. I was never a huge Wu-Tang. I mean, everybody, you know, who doesn't want to yell Wu-Tang ain't nothing to fuck with or whatever it was. Like, I remember doing that, but I was not very East Coast.
But there's I was mostly West Coast too, but there's a few East Coast like Notorious BIG. Nobody's really mentioned
Yeah.
Biggie. I mean, like, he had his own different style, and which was great. And that's, he's like somebody you listen to when you're really fucking high, because he sounds like he's really high the whole time.
The East
he put out
Coast,
some good shit.
the East Coast New York rap that I really liked the most was like Santore was saying, Diggable Planets. That was the style of East Coast rap where it was like it was still mellow. I think that's the thing, is that to me it was that kind of vibe most of the time. But like the Far Side, I don't know if anybody remembers them at all, or De La Soul. I think they were.
De La Soul. Me, myself, and I.
These were high school days. I do remember those very well.
Wow.
And I love that part of East Coast rap. Wu-Tang was fun, but I think it was right at the East Coast, West Coast thing. So, and we had to represent. No.
That's right, West Coast.
West Side.
How many fucking white kids? I have seen so many fucking white kids like West Side, like, motherfucker.
I know.
You're going to school.
So I was always,
and
I hated when they did it, because I was actually from West Side in East Oakland. Like, I was like, no, you motherfuckers, now I can't do it because it's stupid.
Ruin it. White
They'll
kids
think I'm
ruin
just
everything.
one of you. It's just like when people are like, why don't you go back to Oakland now? I'm like, because it's gentrified, and everybody's going to think I just came in and fucked it up, and I was already there. And so I just stay out of it, I'm like, no, you fucking
White people. Way to go.
right? Thanks, white people.
White people ruin a lot of shit.
They do. They do, man.
Determination.
And it's self-sabotage, you guys. Like,
It is.
look at me. I can't,
Hey, Dr. D.
Right.
No, I'm kidding. It's not that serious. It's not that bad.
No, it's awesome because it all brought us together. Honestly, from what you say, I'm just amazed because I didn't even honestly, I was thinking of stuff, and I honestly, as far as music, I was kind of saying, okay, what's going to be the general stuff that I know, my friends probably, on the show probably listen to also. And of course, I listened to a bunch of E40 stuff and all that. And I had no clue that you would come here and all this.
I used to work at a Kinko's in San Leandro. It used to be it was a store where you could go get photocopies and stuff, and you could rent computers by the hour and print. And like people, before E40 was really big, people from the clique would come in. I think his sister even did a couple times. I never saw them. I just I always just missed them kind of shit. But everybody would be like, yeah, they came in there making CD covers and shit. From the Kinko's, they were paying 50 cents a copy and cutting 4 on a page for them, and they were stuffing their discs and driving off. So it was, it was very much a part of my upbringing.
Well, I've been educated. I've really been checked. You really checked me.
Aw. Well, that was not my intention, but.
No, but I mean, that's what this is about, about cultures. You think in one way, and then you see something like music just, brings you together, and you realize that you're not that far apart.
Yeah. Yeah, entirely.
That's amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
We need more stuff like that.
It appealed to, why it appealed to broader America in the 90s. It wasn't even only middle class. There's a lot of rural, poor white neighborhoods too. And a lot of those problems that they talked about in that kind of more heavier gangster type stuff, they were just different coded words. You know what I mean? Like it was a lot of their similarities were there. Like E40 talked about curtains, what was it? Sheets for curtains and socks for washing rags. People can relate to that. It was a hard time. So it appealed to a very broad audience.
Wow. Absolutely. I gave everybody a homework assignment this week. I told, when I was planning the show, I told everybody to listen to as much 90s rap as you possibly can. And the reason why is I kind of want to get, what you were thinking about when you were, choosing what to listen to, and then kind of what was your mindset when you were listening to stuff? Like, did it bring you back to high school? What was going through your mind when you chose the music and when you were listening to it? And I'm gonna start off with you, Santore, because I don't feel like you've talked enough. I don't want you to talk more.
Well, all right. No, basically I was listening, Public Enemy the whole time. I'm sorry. That's my go-to.
Don't apologize for
You don't have to apologize at all.
You said listen to rap music, and I was like, well, I don't want to go do a list of, I just want to stick to what I know, and what I like and I dig. And Public Enemy was for me because just, I don't know, it brought back, memory of time because it was always either Public Enemy it was Eazy-E, his solo album that brought me back to the time of like my friends would come over and pick me up and we just, go cruising and listen to, the bass in the car, because the bass was like the big thing, and Public Enemy was there, Fear of Black Planet album, and I liked the whole thing with Anthrax and them doing, Bring the Noise, and so I just stuck to that because it brought back good memories, because I was like, going to high school, just graduating, and my parents would go away for vacation, go check on their property for them to retire, and they left me alone. I had parties, and that was the music that was going on at the time. That, and the new Metallica album, which I stayed away from, and we're not gonna go there, but it just brought back those kind of memories. And I'm always been a big fan of Chuck D. I mean, his lyrics are just great, and then what's great about it is you can they are related to today's society as well, and it's just it's just he's a lyrical genius. And then you always have Flav in the background, doing his thing, and Public Enemy is where it's at for me.
Yeah, one thing you fucking hit 100% was, and that's the thing that struck me the most of listening to this rap, is this sounds like the music could have been made today. They're talking about the same shit back in the early 90s, like KRS-One talking about the sound of the police, to like all these fucking different artists talking about
911
police brutality and growing up without any representation in politics, growing up poor, being in neighborhoods where there's nothing but drugs and crime. I mean, you could literally just, move that stuff to today and come out today, and it'll be just as poignant as it was back in the 90s. Mel, what were some of the things that you listened to, and what were your thoughts?
So I went back to mostly things like De La Soul. I listen to Tupac anyways. Like I said, he's in my random everyday playlist, not all the time, but and sometimes I do reflect and feel like this is kind of silly for me to listen to post Me Too. But I feel at the time, I remember being really excited when that shit came on, and it was, it was the height of my teenage years, and I was a girl. I was in people's cars, and their cars were shaking and bouncing up and down, and they're playing this shit, and so there's that adrenaline rush that you kind of fly back to, where it's like, oh my God, just getting picked up by your friends and scrounging together all the quarters you could find in your house to get enough gas money to go somewhere. Like, that's all, and you wouldn't do shit when you got there, but listen to the same music. That's what it brought back to me a lot. And obviously, like, first crushes a little bit, there's certain songs anyway. There's not a lot of love songs in rap, but, there was some. And LL Cool J, like,
I need love.
Yeah.
There you go.
What were you listening to this week, D?
Well, I did my homework. I went back. My 90s was like just coming like out of high school, going into like college, and then kind of time I spent back and forth from home. So during that time, I was listening to, I kind of went back a little bit before that. I pulled up some, some simple stuff that was on the radio. I started with that, like, oh, what was the radio stuff? So, I was like, oh, okay, I remember Crisscross, and, I had to go listen to Vanilla Ice, because it didn't matter if you thought he was a good or bad rapper, you listened to the whole song when it came on because you liked it.
Yeah.
So I listened to that, but then I went into for sure I listened to some old NWA stuff, some old Beastie Boys stuff, some old Cash Money. Lil Wayne.
No.
Yeah.
You know how ridiculous I feel bumping that at like 42. I'm like, people are like, who is playing that?
No, I guess it's just like our folks will listen to some old songs. Like, what is that? That was what we liked then. It's a part of us. But I kind of went through that, and for me, that time, it did take me back to, like, music for me was like, I don't know, it may sound like kind of, I don't know, corny or whatever, but it was like a medicine for me, or like a counselor for me. Like, based on what I was feeling or trying to get through, I had songs for it. Mm-hmm. And I would listen to it. It would kind of like be like my own little way of kind of getting through stuff, because I was very like introverted and like telling what I was thinking about or talking about my problems or issues. So I had songs for it, and I would kind of get through it. And then if I was listening to a lot of those, like, oh man, I remember I was going through that. Wow, that really helped me. So, I kind of definitely got a chance to reminisce, some little sad parts, but some happy parts, But I appreciate this lesson because it did make me kind of reflect, kind of come out of what's going on today, kind of go back over your life a little bit and realize how a lot of this music was your own soundtrack for your own life,
Yeah.
I love that. And one thing that I really love is the fact that every one of you guys talked about how, you shared this music with your friends. And my choice was The Chronic as well, because The Chronic reminded me, and I started the whole week off with listening to Chronic because Dr. Dre is finally on Spotify. I remember we talked last week about spending time up in Mike Dolan's basement, getting super fucking high with all our friends, and we were constantly listening to The Chronic and Wu-Tang and Bone Thugs and Harmony because he had the CD player that revolved, and just sitting there talking the same shit that we're talking today, only super fucking high and listening to rap. And just listening to like Gin and Juice and listening to fucking Snoop Flow on that album, it's like it took me back. I was fucking 16, 17 years old again, smoking out of a big ass bong with James on one side, DW, Joel, Mike Dolan. I mean, like, and we listened to rap, and so it brought me back to those times, and I love those times. I hated high school, but I love those times. So
yeah.
Okay,
what was your favorite The Chronic? What was your favorite song on the album?
Yeah.
Rolling down the street, smoking Indo, sipping and gin and juice.
Laid back.
Thank you, sir. Good job.
Wow, I love it.
Wow. Do you guys think that rap is as good today as it was back then?
Ooh. Sorry.
It's different for sure, but is it better or as good?
No.
I think it's when you get like some other artists that come from other cultures I think it's some artists who are just artists. So even when they show up again, you don't think, oh, who is this old person? They do something like, oh, it's an event. You're like, wow. But I think a lot of these guys are talented, and I'm not talking like these young kids. I don't want to sound like the old guy. I just think that the corporate, yeah, but I do sound like that. I think the corporate side has taken over, and they're like, oh, really? I can make money off this, and they just kind of market it, and then the people don't really have to be artists. They can say something. They can be talking to their friends and say a word. Hey, let's repeat that, and then, they can put a beat or something together, and then they sell it. But to me, I think something being good, as far as me being something that's good rap or good music in general, is if it lasts beyond that summer. I was telling my son about that. He's like, oh, this is the stuff. You got to listen to that. Like, okay, I said, I'm not hating on that kid, but I said, I bet you it will not be around next summer. And it's not. So I said, he made his money, and that's cool. I said, songs that I have, I can go back, like we said, to the 90s and play it, and it's fucking dope. So, I mean, I'm not knocking these kids now. Yeah, make $1 million this summer, do your thing. I think you don't have the same substance. I think they got talent. They can dig a little deeper if they wanted to actually write something. I think they just don't want to write nothing, or either they just too much on pills and syrup or whatever they're doing. I don't know, but that's just me. I'm not knocking them.
What about you, Mel? What do you think?
So it goes back to what I was saying about why I thought 90s rap was so big, is because everybody was encouraged to be creative because they didn't know the formula to make. James kind of calls it a Franken song. It's just the formula to make that style of song big, and it's going to be a one-hit wonder no matter what kind of thing. So I think because they've figured out those formulas, like that, now it's going to take longer for things to change. But every once in a while you see something new come up, and it delves into the internet. Like once you get like SoundCloud, there are people who make shit. My son puts his stuff. I've promised him I would never tell everybody like, oh, my son, go listen to his music. But I know he does make albums on SoundCloud. He does it with like a microphone and a little bit of ours. We have slightly more than normal equipment, but it's pretty basic stuff. And like his friend's doing drums on a cell phone sometimes, and it's fine. It's it's very good, but I mean, it's a fine quality thing. So I feel like that's where you find the people. And then what happens is eventually they do get discovered because they trend on the internet, on these types of apps, and you end up getting a famous person out of it. And then I admit they tend to kind of change sometimes. They're like, no, do that thing you did that time we found you, because that's what people want. And that's very hard. Like Tyler, the Creator, I really liked him until he became very mainstream, you know? And now I'm like, that's so weird because he's all right. I don't hate it. It's just different, you know? Same thing with Extentation. That XXX Station guy. I mean, his stuff was dark, and I know his backstory, and I know he's controversial, but I liked his songs. I just, you know, it was the same song over and over eventually because that's what they wanted. So that becomes old. Really old. But, you know, there's some other stuff. I love what females are doing right now in rap, like Cardi, Nicki, Megan, and fuck Tory Lanez. Like, I know all about that bullshit. But
I know, right?
Anyway, I read way too much pop news for some reason. I read gossip. So, but
That's
anyway, no, the women are doing a lot, and I'm really impressed with it. I think, you know, a lot of what they're doing hasn't been done by women in that genre at all. I feel like women have not been given their respect or their space in it until now. And so I'm loving that. You know, WAP was great. You know, I have no apologies. I don't care if I'm too old or immature or whatever. I don't care.
Yeah.
That was a great expression.
That's it's awesome. Definitely an era for the women rapper. I mean, there's a lot of great stuff. Like you said, I don't particularly like Cardi B style because I don't like that mumbly kind of rap, but she's very big. And then you have like Lizzo, who's, you know, extremely talented and she's very inspiring. So maybe it's not as good like in general as it was in the 90s, but there are some segments like I think this is the era of the female rapper, and they're putting out some really great shit that's going to last for a long time. Santore, you said you were very adamant about saying that today's rap is not as good. You know, explain yourself.
Well, it's real simple. I mean, just like new anything that's right now that's not like what old music had, or not really old music, but it had soul. Like everything had soul. And I think that's the missing ingredient for today's music in general, that the soul is gone. Like I don't think that artists today have soul. And I think that the artists in the past had soul, and I think they need to either figure it out, bring it back, or get some soul. I just don't think that hip hop or rock or anything, and country even, has soul today. I think they're just doing it because they know how to make a buck. And then there's someone there to sign them a contract and help them make that dollar. And I don't think they're really, you know, have the soul like they used to. So that's why I'm adamant about it. I don't think there's any soul in today's music.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, they're very talented people. You know, they're very talented. I can't tell you. That's what you was just saying too, Melody, about it. Like, I don't want to say that there's no good music out here to just bash everybody. It's rare. I would say it's rare, but I think it's what you said. You know, when it comes to the money side or the commercial side, I get it. They signed a contract and that's their job at that point. It's fine. But I like Cardi B and like other people. You go back before they were big, and you can tell the difference. Mm-hmm. You see, they're still talented, but you go back to when someone was hungry and they were just like, "Hey, you know what? I don't know if this song's gonna do anything, but I'm expressing myself." And you go back to her first songs, it was like beautiful because it was just raw. She didn't give a fuck about what people was thinking. And now she's about to hurt about to do movies. I think she's gonna be she was with Vin Diesel, so she's not huge. So now it's like, they might start picking at her about, like, can you say this or you got to do that. So we'll see, right. You know. But I imagine it's hard, you know.
She may want to mature out of that, and they may say you have to keep up that persona. You know, it depends on the situation, and it limits once you're in a contract with something like that. That's why I highly recommend experiment out into the universe of music that is not necessarily, you know, produced by any major label. There are ways to look it up online. You can, like I said, SoundCloud, you can find anything on there. There's a lot of people who were just found from SoundCloud, and they just did it from their backyard or their basement. So that's where I like to go for that kind of stuff. If anybody wants to hear it, there's a cool kind of New Orleans style, but it's very updated, maybe rock mix. It's Morning 40 Federation. They're out of New Orleans. Like, that would be a good example of something that, like, they're not mainstream, and there is some soul in there, Santore. I think you'd like it.
I'll look it up. Just do that.
I'll give my recommendation since you said New Orleans. when there were actually these things called concerts, I saw this band called Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats. It's a great local band, but he had a band called Tank and the Bangas, which is a female-led rap group out of New Orleans, and they fucking tore up Red Rocks. It was amazing to see like an opening act just fucking blow the roof off the place. And so I've been following her along, and Obama named her and Tank and the Bangas as one of his songs on his summer playlist. So I was pretty happy to see that.
Wow.
But Tank and the Bangas is a great fucking rap group. So any last words before we head into our Name That Tune? Any last words, Santore? Last words about 90s rap?
It was a good era for the music and that time for hip hop. I mean, it was coming out, it was expanding, and it met its horizon, and I think it was really good. And I mean, that's my go-to when I go back to hip hop. I just go back to early 90s, and because like I said, there was no soul today. So back then I had to go back and find some soul. So
all right, parting words, Mel, of 90s rap.
It was a very conflicted time. I was a teenager, and I was a bad teenager, and I was in a lot of trouble, and I was in a troubled neighborhood. So like it was a very bad setup from get-go, and the songs did not do anything to discourage you from bad behavior. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not saying that they made me do it or anything crazy. So I'm conflicted when I listen to it, because I feel like the messages are different from what I want to teach my kids and everything. But that was the fun that I had. That was my time then. Like the kid from the Goonies. This is our time down here. That was my time. And it's done, and it's fun to, look back. And some of it I'm impressed that I still like. I was like, I didn't think I'd really still like that one. I'm surprised how much I still like Cypress Hill. I don't listen to them that often, but whenever Hits from the Bong or Insane in the Membrane comes on, I'm like, yeah, how I could just kill a man, with my vacuum cleaner. So,
That's
yeah. Who doesn't like to reminisce?
Dr. D, tell me, last words of wisdom of 90s rap.
Wow. First of all, I can't believe that was 30 years ago. I just can't even wrap my head around that. But I was going to say, it did, like I say, once again, it definitely was a medicine for me. And from what I'm even learning now, I see that it was it was a bridge to a lot of other cultures, not just saying, hey, listen to this music from this place. It was someone from another culture talking about something that connected in the same way. And it's just being revealed to me that this music is bigger than where it came from. It was a voice, an energy that could speak out to many, many people. So I'm thankful they've been around for it.
Absolutely. Love that. So we're going to play like a little mini version of James's games. Santore and Dr. Detroit on Santore's show on Wednesdays, they play Name That Tune. So I have asked our resident DJ to play a little Name That Tune. So as he's getting his thing set up, my last impressions.
All right.
My last impressions of 90s rap, just kind of like everybody said, like it brings people together. It bridges a wide swath of people, and it brings them together. And then at the end, in 2020, that's something that we all need. We all need something that can bring us together. And lastly, Gin and Juice was from Snoop Dogg.
I was going to say that, but I didn't
my
want
favorite
to call
Chronic
you
song
out.
is Nothing But a G Thing.
Style.
I'm very high, so once again,
I didn't want to do that to you, but I thought it.
It's okay. I knew it as soon as I said it, but I needed the time to save face. But yeah, so my favorite song off of the Chronic is Nothing But a G Thing, but Gin and Juice is like one of those songs where you just like that's one of those songs that defines that decade.
My favorite is Let Me Ride.
Let me ride. I was gonna say that too, but then I was like, I don't know. I think I like Nothing But a G Thing because that's the first time you hear Snoop Dogg just like fucking flowing on it.
Yeah.
All right, Dr. Detroit, take us away.
All right, here we go. Now, you know how the game goes. We can't play too much of it. So a lot of times I try to play the intro, and it's not enough. And then sometimes the intro has the song in it. So what I did is just grab some snippets of these songs, which we should know if you know 90s rap. So I'm going to play a little bit of it, and let's see how you do.
I like big butts and I cannot lie.
Bye.
Yeah, that is correct. Baby got back. That was it.
I can't believe nobody brought that up. I forgot it was the 90s.
Her butt. You notice that butt was stuffed.
That was it. That was it. Wow. That was awesome.
Nobody brought up Two Life Crew either. You think they would bring up? That was like the pinnacle of like dirty 90s rap. And when you listen to that, it's like, oh shit. Now it's like mainstream. That kind of shit is mainstream.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked how they were. It's on the same thing, but I didn't know how smart Luther Cameron was. He was, and his lawyers, he was gonna stop doing it. And like these lawyers and other people that were about, freedom of speech, they were like, no, we're gonna help you. We're gonna go push this because if you back down now, then the rest of the music behind you is gonna get censored.
Mm-hmm.
And he fought that fight, and he talks about how he lost a lot of money and a lot of law, but he recognized the bigger thing. So now artists can come and be raw and say what they want to say. They just had to put the sticker on it, which is like cool, as long as you don't get censored. But yeah,
jokes on the government because I bought the CDs that have the parental advisory. That wasn't a deterrent. That was like, those are the good CDs.
I was like, why can't I hear that? What's in it? Let me hear it.
Right. Don't stop me from listening. That made you want to get it. That's awesome, man. I love it. Oh, let's see if we get another one here. Let's see. What about this one here?
Oh.
Was that Jiggy With It?
Getting jiggy with it.
Oh, that was it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it was. Get jiggy with it. Okay. That's kind of easy. Let me see if I can get some harder ones here. Let's see. All right, here we go.
Straight out of Compton.
Wow. So you know all of them. Okay. Let me go back. Let's see. What about this one, man? I didn't even call nothing out, Mike. All right, let's let Mike do this.
Man, they're too good. They're too quick, man.
All right, here's one. All right, what about this one?
I know it's
Gangsta's
fun.
Paradise.
Wow.
Weird Al Yankovic. Coolio. Paradise.
Gangster in Paradise.
It's actually both of them, right? He used the same track. Yeah, man, Coolio. That's cool. All right, here we go. That's all. Here go another one. All right, here we
go. My name is
Sicker Six Amy.
There you go. All right,
hello, kids.
What about this one?
Biggie, why can't you see?
That's how I go.
What's it called?
Hypnotize me.
Hypnotize.
Oh, there it is. I never knows the song. I didn't know it either, so I looked it up. I just know the song.
I don't know it either. I just know Biggie.
That's what it is. Wow.
So
let's see.
This is. Tell me if I'm wrong on this point. Snoop Dogg music is like how you feel when you first start smoking weed. Notorious B.I.G.'s music is after you're high as fuck and you're couch locked. That's the rap that you listen to, or that's the Biggie's what you listen to when you're fucking couch locked. All right? It's slow.
After the munchies kicked in, after you ate something, you're like, oh.
Nobody call me Big Papa.
Hello, when you're going to Big Papa.
That's it. Oh, man.
All right, Dr. D, give us one more, and give us one that's tough.
Ooh, okay. So you guys you kind of know all of them, so let me see if I can come up with one last one on the way out here. Let's see. I know you know that one. You know that one. Probably got that one. We'll find one last one here. You know that one. Okay. Let's try this one.
Is that We Be Tubbin' by Ice Cube? Or We Be Clubbin' by Ice Cube? We Be Clubbin'?
Oh, that's my jam too. It's not it though, but I like that. Glad you said that. I gotta go put that on my list there. I like that. I remember that one.
Dun, dun, dun. Oh, I know which it's Juvenile. It's
What?
I can't think of it. I'm gonna have to pass.
Here you go.
I have no idea.
Gets better than treating your nose. I'm like a mother. Candy coated helicopter with the leather cover.
Yeah, I know. I can't think of it.
Bling bling. Wow.
See, I knew. Okay, so I
You
did
knew
have
it.
bling bling. Okay.
You did.
I
You
get like a
said
half
Juvenile.
point. I get like
Yeah,
a quarter
that's right.
point.
That's right. You had it. That was awesome. The one thing about that group that would just amaze me is, you know, they were straight New Orleans from the street.
Yeah.
We were just listening to them like, you know, they were still kind of like not mainstream. But wow, that when they got on, they won that award. You can see. Normally, you know, they in the videos gritty and grimy. When they got on the show, all you saw was teeth, and it was just like they were like, "Oh my God, look at it!" Because they all had just like t-shirts and jeans. Nobody dressed up. And that
Yeah.
was so cool about it to see, like, wow, these people from the projects and made it and see their faces. They was looking at everybody like, oh.
And that's what happened is I remember sitting in a room with my friends and we were watching the video to Back That Ass Up. And we were like, yo, those girls know them. You know what I mean? Like, they are from around that area. Like, those are not models that were paid to dance. This is what they do for fun. And we instantly, that's why I think I liked him. I was like, he's really promoting his neighborhood. And everything had a good beat. I mean, and poor C Murder, he's in prison, I know. But everybody else turned out all right, I think.
Yeah. Everybody's pretty good.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I love that whole genre for some reason.
Yeah.
We go spend like $95 at Tower Records or Rasputin and buy CDs, just stacks of them, all CMB.
Oh man!
Or you go to Angelo's and raid their used CDs because the new ones were like $15 and the used ones were like $8. So you're like, I'm just going through all the used ones.
Yeah, I didn't live here yet, but we had similar type stores. Yeah.
Oh, I miss CD stores. They're great.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, that was it. That was a great conversation. We pulled an hour out of 90s rap, and I think we could have kept going because if we had an opportunity to actually like listen to music as we were talking, this could literally go on for hours. So I'm happy we got like an hour.
A third of my answer to your albums of the 90s questions. You picked the one decade. I probably listened to rap through the whole decade. Like that was probably my go-to for everything. So.
And it spilled into the year 2000s a little bit. And then, like I said, it started in like 1985. Like, and Public Enemy was huge, and NWA came out at the end of the 80s. And so, you know, the 90s kind of encapsulates, you know, the first couple of years of each of the bookend decades.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just such great music, and it really brought people together. So I really love that conversation. All right, now it's time for our plugs. Time for the plugs. I'm going to go Santore because you probably have the most to plug at this point.
Okay. Well, yeah, I got a podcast on Wednesday. Tune into that. It's going to be 8 o'clock Mountain, 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern, and I will be I lost my game, so I'll be freestyling for 3 minutes and catch that. And, and then we got Santore Project going back on the road November 8th. So, yeah, it'll be interesting, and going to see a lot of cool video and a lot of cool things from James Scavenger Hunt that he has us do. So tune in Wednesday night, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock.
8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and 10 o'clock. All right, what about you, Mel? What you got going on?
You know what? We finished Big Brother, and unfortunately, Reality Bites. I had my surgery, and Love Island is only like it's a 4-week thing. You know what I mean? Or 6-week thing. So we missed it, but we will be back next season on that. So I'm going to back up Santore and plug his shit because I know it's really fun, and I know James has a good scavenger hunt planned.
Good. I'm excited.
So check that shit out.
Check that shit out. All right, Dr. D, what are you doing? What are you up to?
Oh, man, this is still working on Audio Cyto Music, the little logo behind me, and definitely, SoundCloud has been, I used to downplay it. Yeah, I thought it was a joke, but it has been awesome. I met so many cool people out there and collaborated with a lot of people. The platform is awesome. I've been able to make a couple of pennies off the streams. And then Santore just sent me tons of guitar riffs. So the next project is to take his guitar riffs, put some drums and some music behind it to see what we can do with that. And just been reaching out, working with collaboration. One in particular is a young lady out of New York by the name of Limoncello. She spells it that instead of an L, it's a 7. But she is awesome. And so just really working, keeping the music going, learning more and more about the show. So I'm really appreciate being a part of this. So I want to continue to, jump in and see what I can learn and help here. But mostly that's been my life, music, the show, and, so I want to plug Audio Cyto and, of course, Truckee Pacific. And that second book I got to get to behind you. I know you about to plug it.
Yeah. So
yeah.
First of all, I want to give a shout out to Rob Robert, who has joined us in the chat for pretty much the whole show. I want to give him a shout out because he, put some really good rap recommendations and stuff that he liked in there. So a big shout out to Rob Robert in the chat room. And my plug, like he said, Race to Space. I have a new book out in ebook and on paperback. You can find it on Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com, Nook, Kindle. If you just talk to me, I'll order one, I'll sign it, I'll send it off to you. But it's a cool book, and please check that out. Also, Truckee Pacific Reviews, my movie review show with my son. We're gonna record one tomorrow where we review Beetlejuice, and then starting next week, we're going back into the old Universal monsters. So we're gonna see like the Bela Lugosi, Dracula, the old Frankenstein, Wolfman, Mummy. And so we'll review those as well. So check out Race to Space Event Horizon, TruckeePacific.com. Go and check out the Santore Project on Facebook and on Instagram. Next week we have James's Games, which are always a lot of fun. We will have no idea what the game is until next week. Hopefully all of you guys can join next week as well. But other than that, we love your money. So if you go to our Venmo, go to @TruckeePacific303. Give us some fucking money because, this shit's not going to be free all the time. We're eventually going to get paid, and they're going to have to pay, like, out the ass. So, pay now. Just give us a couple bucks @TruckeePacific303. That's pretty much it, guys. I really appreciate all the conversation. I can't wait to see you guys next week for James's Games. Thank you so much. Go and fucking listen to 90s rap, yo. I mean, like, use your Spotify, your Apple, whatever, Pandora. Just listen to as much 90s rap as you can this week and just kind of relive some of those memories. But other than that, have a good night, guys. I really appreciate it. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
This has been a Truckee Pacific production. For sponsorship inquiries and comments, go to the Mile High PotCast @gmail.com.